we've got the one and only Miko Peled, Israeli author and activist, speaking from the new studio at Palestine House of Freedom in Washington, D.C. My goodness, Miko, Washington has changed since I was last there, giving the Senate a good bloody hiding back in 2005. We've now got a Palestine House of Freedom. Tell us about that first, please.
Well, good to be with you again, George. And that I remember that excellent hiding that you gave the Senate. I mean, that's a wonderful. If anybody hasn't seen it, I recommend they go on YouTube and find it and watch you testify there. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
Yes, we established this organization here. We're just a few blocks away from the Capitol here in Washington, D.C., Palestine House of Freedom, to demonstrate to people that there is a pathway to peace in Palestine, and it's by dismantling the apartheid state and allowing for a free democratic Palestine to take its place between the River Jordan and the Mediterranean on all of historic Palestine. For reasons that, well, you know very well, that is not part of the conversation here or in the UK for that matter. And that has to become part of the conversation. People can no longer talk about leave things as they are. There has to be a serious pathway to peace discussed. And the pathway, again, I'll say, it's dismantling the apartheid state and establishing a real democracy with equal rights on historic Palestine. So that's our mission, and that's what we're hoping to, that's the mission that we're hoping to push forward. And particularly into the capital, which is, like I said,
are you having, yeah, I'm guessing that as yet, the Freedom House is not getting much passing trade from the Congress, which seems to be, I hate this, believe me, I never wanted to use these memes, but it seems to be occupied territory, seems to be bought and paid for by the Israel lobby.
Yes, look, I don't think anybody is denying that in order to get things done and to get the conversation moving in the right direction, we need to circumvent the regular politics with using creative strategy. We're trying to do something that has never been done. We're up against, like you said, an adversary that has got a great deal of funds and a history and relationships that goes back at least 100 years here in Washington, D.C. And yet we have to pursue this. We don't have a choice. They're not going to invite us in. We have to figure out how we're going to get in, how we're going to change the conversation, and again, how we're going to bring the end to the genocide of the Palestinian people and a peaceful resolution to Palestine. So yes, we are. There's no question that this is going to be a very difficult path, but we're gearing up for it. And like I said, geographically, we are here in Washington, like again, a few blocks away from the Capitol, and we're ready to go. We're ready to do this.
Fantastic news. If Joe Biden is removed and Kamala Harris assumes the throne, will there be any difference in her attitude to the conflict, or is she so stupid she thinks Sinai is the plural of sinus?
It's hard to keep a straight face with you, George, sometimes. Both you and I are old enough to know that it's not about this or that elected official. It's about what we do to get them to do the right thing. I mean, I think it was Reagan who eventually decided that it was time to boycott South Africa, and that led to the end of apartheid in South Africa. So I don't think it matters who the person is that's in charge. We need to get them to do what we want them to do. You know what I mean? I mean, the voters, the people who are involved, and a place like us, which is dedicated to getting them to that point. So I don't really think it matters one way or the other if it's Joe Biden or somebody else. We need to do what we need to do to change the conversation on Palestine, to end the genocide of the Palestinian people, to establish a free, democratic Palestine from the river to the sea with equal rights. That's the mission. Who happens to be the prime minister or the president at the time? I don't think that's relevant right now at all.
Let me switch course, if I may, Miko. You are, of course, famously the son of a general. What do you make of the current situation on the northern border. It looked like the balloon was about to go up and a full-scale invasion of Lebanon was going to be mounted by the Netanyahu gang. That seems to have cooled a notch or two down even in the last hours. What's your evaluation?
There's no doubt that the Israelis are terrified of a full war with Hezbollah. They know they have a history with Hezbollah, and they know that they cannot defeat them, not by a long shot. They're going to be defeated quite decisively if they go, army to army with Hezbollah. They know that the entire northern front is going to be decimated. Right now, already, citizens of the state of Israel who live in the north are afraid for their lives. They're migrating south and so on. Israel always has the option, of course, to use air power, but the rest of the world, I don't think, is willing to see southern Lebanon destroyed once again and millions of refugees moving out of southern Lebanon. So I think that's why we see the standstill. I think that's why we don't see this escalation. That's really where things stand right now. And I think obviously less war is always better, but I think that's what it is. And I think the fact that the Israelis are terrified of a full-on war with Hezbollah has a lot to do with the fact that this is not escalated. And of course, they're still fighting in the south. Genocide is continuing. They've got the Yemeni forces that they're dealing with at the Bab el-Mandab. So the Israeli forces, the Israeli military has got a lot to deal with right now, and they're not a very capable military to begin with.
I wanted to turn to that because I saw a piece today that said the port of Eilat has literally gone bankrupt. It has filed for bankruptcy. This one of the most important ports in Israel, now bankrupt. And that's everything to do with the great efforts of the Yemeni people in the Red Sea, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I was on Piers Morgan's show a few months ago, and he was very unhappy when I said, he mentioned the Yemeni forces. I said, well, they're the only ones who are acting responsibly because they are responding to the genocide that's taking place. And he didn't like it, and he ended the show. I know you've been on the show recently too, and I'm not plugging him in. I'm just saying clearly the Yemeni forces and their efforts are taking a serious toll on the economy, on the apartheid economy, and like I said, this is exactly the responsible thing to do. And I just want to say one more thing. We talked about the northern front. Behind me, what you're seeing is the Galilee. This is the Sea of Galilee, and this is the Galilee, which of course is right now very close. Hopefully, there won't be an all-out war. But they're very close to the possibility of war is very strong. But yeah, clearly the port of Eilat and the Israeli economy, the apartheid economy, has suffered greatly as a result of the good work of the Yemeni forces. Absolutely.
A lot of people are leaving Israel, aren't they? I used to quite often be in Israel in the 1980s, 90s. There were a lot of very good people as well as very bad ones in Israel. From what I know, most of the good people have left. But in the last period, hundreds of days now, from what I've seen, the airport is chock-a-block with people flying out. Is that beginning to take its toll societally and economically also?
Yes, I think we've all seen those images of the airport, chock-a-block and people wanting to leave, and there are not a lot of commercial flights because some of the foreign airlines are still not flying there. And so certainly there's chaos. I think one of the obvious results of the Palestinian attack of October the 7th is that they brought the apartheid state to practically shut it down. I mean, they brought it to complete paralysis for a while, and it's still paralyzed. And so there are all these different aspects of the results of this attack that we're seeing in all sorts of different ways. And of course, the flight of people is one of those things. And the economy is in disarray, the military is in disarray, the police is in disarray, the society is in disarray. The media doesn't even know where to start. I mean, the conversations and the arguments and the commentary and the Israeli media it's insane. So yes, of course, it's taking a societal, but it's a effect on Israeli society. But of course, this is part of the one of the results of the attacks of October the 7th. They shut it down.
But there are other dimensions, aren't there? Although they are, of course, everything is connected to the other. But this decision by the Israeli government to force the Hasidic Jews, the Orthodox Jews, to serve in the army, that has the potential, and it's already had the effect of violence on the streets because these Orthodox people refuse it. But also many of their leaders have said, if you're going to force us to serve in the army, we're leaving Israel. Do they mean that?
Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, the struggle of the ultra-Orthodox community has been decidedly anti-Zionist and very, very effective, and many are leaving. I'm actually in the process of writing a book about this community and their anti-Zionist activities. And one of the things that we know very well is their refusal to participate in the military. And that's been a struggle that's been going on for a very long time. And they are leaving. They're going to any place that they can in order to take their kids, take their families where they're safe. Because right now that community is not safe, and it's never really been safe under the apartheid regime. Are we still there?
Why did the Israeli government force it through then? Was this part of the horse trading inside the coalition?
Well, there was a status quo for many years because the military didn't want that community and the community didn't want the army. And then it was maybe 15, 20 years ago when Yair Lapid got into politics, that was his wedge issue. That was the issue that allowed him to become, famous in politics because it was something that nobody knew how to deal with. And he managed through his, in a very, I think, very racist manner, criminalize that community and put them in a position where they are somehow, the comparisons and the slurs used against them, I won't repeat here, by regular Israelis. They're used by regular Israelis against that community. But they are strong, and they are, they're suffering greatly. I mean, we don't see this in the regular media, the assaults, the terrible assaults by the Israeli police into their communities, into their neighborhoods. I've met with several of their activists that are dealing with the struggle against the draft, who are living in hiding. They're on the lam because they know that if they're arrested, they'll be beaten, they'll be tortured, they'll be thrown in jail, and so on. And it's a powerful struggle, and this is not a struggle that anybody can win. They're going to win. There's no way they can be forced to serve. And I'm sure you've seen the images where they hold up signs saying, we are going to die before we serve in your army. We will not serve. And in their community, in their neighborhood in Jerusalem, in Mea Shearim, there are huge banners, and they've been there for years, saying we will not serve in their army. A Jew is not a Zionist, and so on. So that's been their stance for a very long time.
I'm fascinated. I've been in Mea Shearim many times. I'm fascinated by it and that community. I really look forward to your book on that subject. So just finally, how can people help the Palestine House of Freedom in Washington? Is there a website? Can people donate? What do you need?
Yes, there's a website. It's Dar al Hurriya. You can see the name behind me. We're using the Arabic name. We're adding the English name soon, but for now it's the Arabic name, Dar al Hurriya, which is the House of Freedom. There's a website. We're on social media. We're on all the platforms, and we just embarked on that. We just completed actually a series of posts about the apartheid and showing how the state of Israel is an apartheid regime using the amnesty report that came out a couple of years ago. And so, like I said, we're on social media. We have a website. If people want to contribute, of course, there's a way to contribute on the website. If anybody wants to learn more, they're welcome to message me or message us on social media. It's DARALHURRIYA.org. And again, like I said, our
I
mission
look
is to
forward to
educate.
visiting you later. Yeah, I look forward to visiting you later in the year, God willing. Thank you, Miko Peled, as always, and the best of luck
Thank
to
you.
the House
Thank you.
of Freedom in Washington.